Hey friends, so today's video I wanted to give you a little bit of an opening on what you're about to watch. I went over to my mom's house and we get into these really deep conversations, hence why we're trying to start a podcast like immediately. This conversation was supposed to be part of my actual daily vlog, but it ended up being a lot longer and more in depth and emotional than I intended it for it to be. And I think it's important to share my mom's point of view. A little backstory, we were talking about John and I and Ella's 5-year plan. Things got a little bit emotional, so just wanted to like warn you, you know, it's a good talk. It's a very honest, real, and raw conversation, and I want to share it with you guys. So, there you go. Hello.
Hello.
So, Mom and I were just sitting down and talking.
Wrinkled my shirt. You look so cute. I'm in like workout clothes.
Oh, yeah. About Ella's future plans. I think I just totally freaked her out. I thought we were on the same page. I guess I was wrong. Because when we've talked about it in passing, it's kind of been like, yeah, we'll move wherever you go. Pop can fly out wherever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but you know, it just.
John and I have sat down and come up with a 5-year plan. Not necessarily, it could be 10. Who knows? You know what I mean? Things change. But like thinking of Ella's future and education and stuff like that, I was talking about, and now you're all freaked out.
I'm freaked out.
Yeah?
I said I'm not freaked out.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Put the camera away. Not now. Stop. Gosh, can you imagine what it feels like to be famous where people are at? Don't ask me these questions.
Yeah, no pressure. You don't have to say anything. I'm just saying that's what we were talking about. I came over here and it got deep real quick.
I guess probably the thing that I would say is here I had sent you that video footage of, you know, Ella, what was it, not sleeping and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, but I wasn't mad at autism. And, you know, I was like, I've accepted it. And then you just now take it to another level of, you know, of something else to think about as far as accepting what autism does to her life. Does that make sense?
Just makes it.
And maybe we never get to the point.
You really, I think everyone just adapts, but at the same time, like, I don't know what her future looks like.
Right,
I don't.
and it's still okay to feel pissed off that why can't her future be less complicated?
I see, and that's what I didn't want to do. I knew it was going to do that. My future was complicated. Look how hard you had to push to get me to graduate high school, and I'm normal. Stop. It's all right. You can be sad.
Not sad, it's not fair.
You'll get to where you need to be someday. You're still working out the feelings, you know? Because that way of thinking isn't bad. It's normal. But you guys spent a lot of good time with her and stuff, but like, you must be tired or hungry or both. And honestly, you guys still have to work out some emotions, or you do, or whoever. We're in a different level of acceptance, I think, than you are, and that's okay.
Oh, you're her parents.
Exactly, I see her every day. So like, I'm in a different place with it than you may be, and that's okay. Because the whole, it's not fair.
This weekend, and then you come in here.
I know. Well, it's it's not. I'm just being realistic. Like, we have to look at her future, like anybody.
I don't blame you.
Like, you set up Florida scholarship for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look how that turned out.
I know, piece of shit anyway. But like, you know what I mean? You did that was setting me up for the future. And look, I barely graduated high school. You know what I mean? Like, we could set up all of these things and have her go to all of these places and special schools and everything. And she's, you know, living her, either way, she's going to be fine, living her best. The whole mentality of it's not fair.
Well, I know that, but I mean, also just to hear moving back to Jacksonville, it was such a traumatic time for all of us.
Yeah, that
we're in
sucked.
Jacksonville, that's a bit triggering. I mean, it'd be one thing if you were saying, if the schools in
Palm Beach.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's just make somewhere up. You know, I mean, Jacksonville has its own little trigger because it was not a good time.
No, that was a really hard time.
In Jacksonville, that was tough. It was when Ella was was starting to be a parent, and you were, you know, so lonely up there. And John hated his job, and you know, it just was. But it was darkness.
It was dark, and that's like why we were always so scared to. Like, did you ever think I would say we want to live in Jacksonville? Like, no. But her best option for like schooling and everything is there.
Right. I
so
totally get that.
That's like what we're working towards. I mean, that's just, or unless because it is so far in the future, it's far in the future, unless something else comes up.
Right.
But like, we just have to think like that. That's how we have to think. But it's not that it's not fair. It's just different. Or it's the same. It's differently the same.
You said, well, I'm going to take that out. What's wrong with saying it's not fair?
I don't know.
No, I mean, really though. I mean,
I don't want it to...
how's it any different if, you know, I don't know, a kid had juvenile diabetes or...
Because that's an illness. This isn't an illness. That's the difference.
Yeah, but, well, I mean, now we're having an honest conversation. That kid with diabetes I'm just making up an illness. I'm just picking an illness. You know, yes, they're sick with a thing, but they can, you know, like go to school, they can live on their own, you know, that kind of stuff. Autism takes some of those options off the table. That's what's not fair about it. And it's no different than any kind of illness, being blind, you know, that takes options off somebody's table.
But what I'm saying is autism is not an illness. That kid that could live a normal life could also drop dead because he has diabetes, living his normal life.
Right.
That's not the same. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not a fight. It's a good conversation to have. But when you look at it as an illness, you're just kind of setting yourself up for sadness.
No, I don't see it as an illness, but I see it as something, you know, that changes the typical scope of the trajectory of her life.
When you trajectory my life, like, did you envision me doing so poorly in school and, you know what I mean, not getting my education the way I should?
Yeah, but that was something that, you know, even though that was happening, I knew you would end up where you are and not doing YouTube.
And even though this is happening, you got to think about that like that with Ella. Like, seriously. Because
I don't normally think about limiting, you know, things limiting her until we, you know, have a big conversation
about the future.
About the future.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I guess with you, that's a poor comparison to me, to use you. Because, you know, yeah, you were winging it and, you know, doing your own thing in high school and not paying attention and all that kind of stuff. But I knew, you know, you had the capacity. Do you know what I'm saying? Like what we were just talking about. Like, you know, I knew you could pay bills. I knew you could get a job. You know, when you got the kind of job, you know, that we thought was, you know, ideal for you or whatever. You know, that's a different thing. But I knew, I never had a doubt in my mind that you could be independent. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
The possibility of a lack of independence is different. I mean, that never crossed my mind with you.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd say, you're never going to graduate from high school, and how's you going to get a job? Well, I knew you'd be able to take care of yourself. You know, and I still have that complete confidence that Ella will too. I think
we just have to have different conversations than a neurotypical person or family would have to have.
Absolutely.
And we're all new at having them.
To prepare me for the worst when I don't think I'm being naive, but I feel like when I'm like, oh, I'll be fine, I'll get a job, I'll go to college, you're like, well, maybe not. Like, you know.
I prepare you for the worst because when I didn't, and I was like, Ella will be fine, everything's gonna be fine when she first started ABA.
Right.
You know what I mean? You weren't prepared.
No, and this is why, that's why I started Autism Grant. There's, you know, there's the next level of what you know, you worry not only about your grandchild who you love, you worry about your child. You know, it's, you worry about her day-to-day life. I worry about her day-to-day life, but I mean, I worry then about you. Because
I live her day-to-day.
I know.
And you don't, like.
No, but what I'm saying as a parent, I worry then for the heartbreak or worry for you. You know, like, adults, like we kept saying this weekend, oh, how do they, you know, the kids don't sleep, and
it hurts you a little bit.
Well, sure it does.
I know. I don't know why it hurts you. And John, that's why I said you'll get to where we are someday. You really will. Because we now have these conversations like matter of factly. Because preparing for the worst is always super important in any situation.
And I've spent my whole life preparing for the worst, and I guess, you know, because of what I did, you know, and that has scarred me. You know, I don't like to be always preparing for the worst. I mean,
we're not even preparing for the worst. It's just, it's a different life than we originally thought, but like now we've adjusted to it, and you just figure it out from there, and your mentality, your mindset changes.
No, but I mean, we're talking about, you know, moving as your family, you know, our family, whatever. You know, we've all lived here for a very long time, so that would be, that's a big deal too. Even if we didn't go with you, you know, then, you know, we don't have this, and I feel like I don't see I don't feel like I see you as much as I want to see you now, much less if you lived in Jacksonville, and that's just a purely selfish feeling about you and me. I would miss you. I missed you terribly when you lived in Jacksonville.
I'm not gonna move. It's years. Ma, I'm gonna be a billionaire and I'll fly us all there together and you can live in my... Yeah. We don't even have to drive with the peasants. You're not gonna live without me.
Why am I crying?
I don't know. Stop. We're gonna be fine. I literally talked about 5 years in the future and now it's like, well, in 5 years I'm not gonna see you every day? What do you mean? You have a really, no. You have a really skewed version of how often we see each other. I see you almost every day. Like, I don't see you enough as it is.
I'm glad you think it's funny.
It's not.
People tell her it's not meant to make your mother cry.
Well, it's better to cry than laugh than cry. We're fine. And the only reason I said I would take out the part where you say it's not fair is because I don't want someone to misconstrue what you're saying as like, this is the worst thing that could ever happen, because my whole platform, I know you're making and they do know that.
But you know what? It's not, why do we have to hide? Let's be real. You're always real. You know, Ella is who she is, and I wouldn't change a single thing about her, and I've told you that, and I think I've probably told her in some way, shape, or form. And the only thing I've ever said is I wish she didn't face the extra challenges that autism brings.
Yeah.
I don't think that's an unreasonable thing.
It's not.
If she was born missing a limb, I'd say, gosh, you know, it's a shame she's missing that arm, because that's going to present more of a challenge than the kid next to her. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to say, that we should hide how we feel about that. No, thank God it's not a medical life-threatening, you know, but in some ways it is. You know, and that's part of what I would say to you, and I'm not trying to bring you down, but I mean, look at what happens with kids with autism. There are risks to their lives too. You know? Yeah. They wander off, they drown. I mean, that's just the reality of that too. You know, because of those kind of lack of communication, they can't look at adults who don't comply and people don't understand. I mean, all through her life, there will be challenges, whether we like it or not. And I don't have to like it.
I know. I know.
I can completely accept it and wouldn't want to change who she is or anything like that. Look at that sandwich. Do I wish she didn't have to face those challenges? Hell yeah. She doesn't even know she faces them. So God bless Ella. She doesn't know. Yeah. And if she knew, she would care.
I know.
Which is a beautiful thing.
Good talk. Why? Why are you looking at me like that?
I think I still have Pop-Tarts left over from
No, don't stressy. I didn't mean to stress you out. I just wanted to have a real talk. I thought we were on the same page. I was wrong.
No, we are on the same page.
So I was like, I told Sylvia, I was like, they're gonna move with us, it'd be no big deal. And then now you're like, you're moving? And then, oh, I'm like, oh, but the house? What about the house? I'm thinking, you know, I'm optimistic Sam here, optimistic Olivia, because I could spend my time being not optimistic and be sad. For what?
I'm not ever sad. You came and made me sad.
I did.
You leave that in. I wasn't sad. You came and made me sad.
That's what I do best. No, it's good that we had the talk, because it's not happening anytime soon, but it's happening. And it could happen, it could change. Everything changes in everyone's lives here.
What I'd like to see is when you're a gazillionaire, you start a JSA around here, because it's not just a matter of Ella. How many kids are there around here? And we know there's a lot that need what Abby gets up there.
I agree.
You know, there should be, and you know, why doesn't our public school system do that for our kids?
Oh, we could spin this off a million times. So many conversations. Mom, go eat your sandwich. This is all, there's hunger involved in this, and I gotta go get my husband some lunch, but I love you. Everything's fine, guys.
What's on the back of your camera?
That's part of the puzzle piece sticker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're okay. Lauren came and made me sad. Just remember that. I was fine.
So, thank you guys so much for understanding and watching, and just, you know, give my mom big hugs. She had an overly emotional day up until this point, so I think that's why it was a little bit more, you know, it caught her off guard, but it was good. We are good, and I wanted to share that with you guys. So, I guess we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, friends.